alive. It's episode 20, everybody. So much to celebrate, but also so much to mourn. Ladies and gentlemen, Phillip Rivers is no longer a Charger. I got my boys right here. I got Big Riv and Lil Riv, and Billy Shakes here to back them up. Monday, got the news that Phillip Rivers is well, we always knew that he was going to be a free agent, but we didn't know if he was going to sign a new contract with the Chargers, and it's official. He's done, and I'm sad. So I don't want the episode to be sad, obviously. And at the end of the day, it's football, right? I mean, it's nothing that really matters to life in the grand scheme of things. But, guys, I grew up watching Phillip Rivers since, he was drafted in 03, 02, started in 05. He was learning under Drew Brees for a few years. Drew Brees got his shoulder hurt, and then Rivers stepped in, and then Brees left because the general manager of the Chargers at the time, he had all of his faith in Phillip Rivers and decided to say goodbye to Drew Brees, and then rest is history. So, but by far, my favorite football player of all time. I mean, being a Chargers fan is difficult. We know that. But what makes this extra sad, he was the last San Diego Charger on the team. Like, he was the last one. It's all just Los Angeles Chargers now. And, I wanted to go see him in the new stadium and all that. But, oh well. It's likely he's going to be with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's kind of the number one team on his radar, I think. Anyway, that's what they're projecting. He moved to Florida. I don't even know who the Buccaneers quarterback is, but, I'll be rooting for him. Honestly, if the Buccaneers get him and the Buccaneers and the Chargers play each other, I'm rooting for the Buccaneers, 100%, because I want Phillip Rivers to win a Super Bowl before he's done. But anyway, enough of that. This is a teacher podcast, people, so let's get right into it. I'm drinking this little baby water bottle here, and, sometimes in life, you become the thing you make fun of. And I don't know if I told Mrs. Baird this. I made fun of her a couple weeks ago on the show for her gigantic water bottle, poking fun at Mr. Bacon's double gulp a little bit. But guess what I did last night, guys? I ordered a water bottle. It's coming, and I'm going to be the thing that I was making fun of. Now, I didn't get a gigantic water bottle like Mrs. Baird does, so she'll still be goofier than me. I wanted to get a water bottle I can hold in one hand, So I think it's like a 64 ounce that she's got. I got a 40 ounce. So, I'm just sick and tired of buying water constantly. And, I don't have a recycle bin in here, so I'm just constantly throwing water bottles away. I'm what's wrong with America. It's the bottom line. So I decided to up my game and get a water bottle so I can, be one with the crowd. So this might be the last episode you see me with a water bottle. Guys, there's just too many things to be sad about. I'm not going to have water bottles anymore. The Rivers isn't a Charger anymore. We got to pick up the energy here. Let's go right into it. Sometimes as a high school teacher, you notice when you do things, it's like, this is so elementary right now, what I'm doing. There's so many strategies that we do sometimes that are very elementary-esque, but they work in high school also. The other day, just to hold them a little bit more accountable, we were going over some questions with Julius Caesar, and I noticed some of them weren't really urgent about getting their work done. Because I do this thing where I'll assign a certain amount of pages to read and questions to answer, and they know that usually I assign particular people a question to answer it. And once I assign those questions, I give another minute for them to prepare. And during that minute or two that I'm giving them to prepare their answers, the kids that weren't called on, they just stopped working. So I needed to do something to fix that. And what I did was I said, all right, everybody needs to have their answers ready to go at this particular time. Otherwise, you get a 0 for the day. Like I applied an amount of points to the day, making sure that their questions were done. And if they didn't have their questions done, 0 out of 10 for the day. It became a mandatory thing to have them all done before we walked out. And some kids didn't do it, and they got a 0 out of 10. And they were like, "What's up, Mr. Norris? I've never seen you do this before." And I said, I explained it during class. You got to get your 10 points by doing the questions. And it felt very elementary because I was walking around with a clipboard and going to each student like, "All your questions done?" "Yep, they sure are. You get a check mark." And I would do that to every kid. Might as well have had a stamp to put on their paper, So, but every now and then, stuff like that works. And it worked. And, the day was a success. So, big update here. I haven't talked about the Men of 300 bathroom in a while. And there's been some significant changes. During Christmas time, we got a golf thing. It's like the green at a golf. I don't understand sports so much. I am having so much trouble describing what golf looks like. The hole that you put the ball in and the green, that thing, that area. There's a little thing that you buy that you can put in front of the toilet. And we got one of those and we put it in front of the toilet. Here's a picture. And it's not there anymore because, after a couple months, we start to feel a little bit bad for the custodians. I mean, not too long ago when the semester started, I was walking back to my car, and you know what? This plane is just, people can be so rude. So we're just going to have to wait. And you're going to have to wait too, because I don't cut anything out, everybody. Thank you. You heard me. Or she. So walking to my car the other day, not the other day, it was like a month ago, but the custodians were outside of the 300 bathroom and I could hear them talking to each other. One was like, there's more than 6 people that use this bathroom, referring to our pictures that are in there. It's like, I'm going to come in here one day, there's going to be candles or something, like who knows what they're going to put in here. And I can hear them talking about it. And I kind of felt bad. And Mr. Bacon and I decided, you know what? They're probably sick of dealing with this green golf thing, moving it all the time and having to clean the floor. And we decided, let's just get rid of it. So we did. But that's one thing that we added, which is now gone. But another thing we added was a calendar. Sometimes you forget what day it is, and we added a calendar. It's a calendar of dogs pooping. Here's an image. But it's helpful, it's home in there, you guys. It's home. And we want it to feel safe and secure. And I'm offended. Mr. Santos, if you're watching right now, the other day, Mr. Bacon and I caught Santos coming back from what is the 200 wing bathroom. And we were like, "Santos, where were you? Were you using the 200 wing bathroom?" And he was like, I don't feel comfortable in the 300 bathroom, you guys. And that made me sit back and think, like, you know what? I put so much effort. We put so much effort into making this bathroom home. And Santos just goes and uses the 200 wing bathroom? We're going to have a talk. Santos's picture is up there. So he may have just come down from the Men of 300 headshot wall. That's something we need to seriously consider. So anyway, let's move right along here. Okay, so this week I made an English teacher boo-boo, you guys. We spend so much time in the beginning of the year. I mean, the kids spend so much time in their entire educational lives talking about similes and metaphors. I mean, that's something that you get at what? 3rd grade, 4th grade, around there, I'd imagine. At least you start kind of getting into that stuff. Anyway, there was a question on Julius Caesar. There was a Julius Caesar question involving a simile, where Brutus says that we need to think of Caesar as a serpent's egg. Now, the entire time talking about this scene, guess what I called it? A metaphor. It's not a metaphor, though. It's a simile. And how do we distinguish the difference between a metaphor and a simile? Say it with me now. Like or as. That's correct. Now, Brutus says, as a serpent's egg. And I spent the entire day calling it a metaphor. Take away my English credential, fire me, and never hire me ever again. I can't believe I made that mistake. And kudos to Mr. Bacon for calling me on it. I mean, you know, guys, let me tell you something. You got to have a friend or a colleague that calls you when you're making mistakes. Or not calls you, but calls you out when you're making a mistake. If your friends are just letting you do that, they're not your real friend. And as pissed as I might have gotten at him for calling me out on, saying that I'm not good at my job, I was happy in the end. Because I went back and in front of the kids, I was like, you know what, guys, I made a mistake. We need to reword this question. It's not a metaphor. What is it? And they knew right away. They're like, oh, it's a simile, Mr. Norris. Why didn't they correct me? That's what makes me the most upset. They're just letting me be an idiot in front of all of them. Oh, this guy thinks it's a freaking metaphor. It clearly says as right here on this paper. Stupid Mr. Norris. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Why didn't they say anything? Anyway. Cleared up the mistake. We're all good. We all know it's a simile now. Okay? We're happy about that? Good. So Academy Awards happened, and Joaquin Phoenix won Best Actor for Joker. Right here. There he is. Awesome. What the hell? Some kid freaking broke my picture frame here. What the hell? That's it. I quit. I'll see you guys later. I'm done. I got to get a new frame. I don't know. Anyway. Congratulations to Joaquin Phoenix, though. Definitely deserves it. And if you haven't seen Joker, you're weird. Check it out. It's a great film. Great film. Great film or a great film? It's a great film. Okay, here we go. This is what I wanted to talk about today. I'm excited now. Speaking of metaphors and similes, I came up with an awesome metaphor to describe a particular element in teaching that sometimes happens. Sometimes teaching is like wearing your favorite shirt, but being unaware that shirt is dirty laundry. Let me explain. You're wearing your favorite shirt, right? You're out having a good time. You're with friends. You're feeling confident. You know you look good in your new favorite shirt, right? You look down, there's a chili stain on it. You're like, damn it. This is my favorite shirt. I look great, but there's a stain on it. This is how it connects to teaching. The other day, this happened. There are days you come in to your classroom and you're just not feeling it. Something else is going on and it's bothering you. Happens all the time. And that's where teaching becomes acting, where you have to say, I've got to put on a role today, all right? I am not Justin Norris today. I am Mr. Norris English teacher today. That's my role. I got to put all my personal stuff at the door and walk in and take care of business. But we're human, and those things that are outside of the role of Mr. Norris will seep in every now and then and take control. And there's things that happen where you're feeling it. You're up there, you're having a great discussion, everything's going good, and you're in teacher mode. You're like, this is the best day ever. I'm so good at my job. And then some kid will say something dumb or do something dumb, and then all the stuff that is going on in your personal life comes back and you project all that negativity onto that kid, and you're pissed and they're pissed and everything's just totally wrong. That's the chili stain on your favorite shirt, right? And what can you do about it? You can take off your shirt and run around like a weirdo, or you can try to conceal it a little bit, maybe, right? Or you can just accept the fact that the stain is there and do your best, remain confident, remain happy that you're at the party and that you're surrounded by people that you care about and that you love. Keep going, right? Even if you got that giant chili stain, you keep going. Act like it's not there, right? Or you end up losing the day. You end up losing the kids. You end up just crashing and burning. Now, this happened, not to me. This happened to Mr. Bacon the other day. You probably wouldn't appreciate that I'm telling this story, but this is real, guys. This is real life. And if I was not going to tell this story, I'd be lying to you. I'd be holding back. And those of you who are watching are here to learn, right? So here we go. Mr. Bacon's getting pissed. All right. There was some kids in the corner, something about money, and some kid took some kid's money and blah, blah, blah. And Bacon's trying to do his thing up in the front talking about Julius Caesar, and these kids just won't shut the hell up. So he was like, all right, figure it out or I'm calling security. And I'm sitting there watching him like, okay, here we go. Showtime, right? And so the kids don't figure it out. And he goes to the phone, calls security, needs someone to come pick up this kid. Let's do this. They got there in like 2 seconds, by the way, super quick. And the kid left, and Bacon went back to it and gathered himself, and everything was good. Now, calling security is not what we want to do in that situation, right? But sometimes we got to do it. And let me tell you, a few episodes back, rifling drawers, when you're just, you got to do something and you're just rifling through drawers to appear as if you're doing the thing you're supposed to be doing, but you're really not doing the thing that you're supposed to be doing. Mr. Bacon was not rifling any drawers that day, ladies and gentlemen. He pulled out a real referral or whatever the hell it's called, I don't know, and he really filled it out and did his thing. I was proud of him. Now, what you want to happen is this. Well, hold on. I want to build it up a little bit more. What you don't want to happen is, like the kid goes to the office, gets in trouble or whatever, fills out paperwork or whatever, and comes back and sits at his desk and like nothing's solved, right? That's the way you don't want things to happen. The best version of a successful ending to a scenario like this is what happened. And I observed it in front of my eyes. And it's happened to me a couple times too. It's an amazing feeling. And that feeling is this. Something like that happens. You send the kid up. They come back. They don't go back to their desk to just sit down and act like nothing happened. They come to you. And they say, Mr. Bacon, I just want to say, I'm sorry. That is a beautiful thing right there. And I watched it right in front of me. The kid went to Mr. Bacon. Mr. Bacon, I just want to apologize for what happened. I didn't mean to do that, blah, 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 blah. I feel bad. And it's a beautiful thing, guys. When kids apologize to you without you being like, now apologize, sit down and, tell me that you're sorry and mean it. Without doing that, they do it on their own. Guys, speechless. It's a beautiful thing. And that happened. So, when you're the kind of teacher that's relaxed most of the time and you're genuine and honest and all of that stuff, like when they see you blow up and do something like that, more often than not, they're going to feel terrible about it because you're not the kind of teacher that explodes constantly. And if you are the kind of teacher that explodes constantly, you're never going to get respect from any kids because it's just going to be entertaining for them at that point. It's just going to be, showtime, like I said. But, and if they don't apologize and you are the kind of teacher that is relaxed and doesn't explode ever, that kid's a sociopath. So anyway, let's go ahead and move on. Guys, it is February. What happened? It's Valentine's Day tomorrow. January was like 3 months, and now February is like 2 days. This year, by far, I was telling Mr. Bacon this the other day, is my favorite year ever in all of my 7 years. I've entered that part of my career where, like, if someone were to tell me, like, hey, do you remember this kid from your 4th year of teaching? I'll be like, no, I don't remember specifically, like, what year you are a part of as an ex-student of mine. Like, I've officially crossed that line where remembering exact years where students come from is starting to get hazy, right? But this year, I feel like I'm going to always remember these kids in particular. And it's not that the kids that came before them were worse. It's nothing like that. It's I am in a place in my life where everything is smooth right now. I'm not coaching speech and debate anymore. My weekends are free. All of my focus is into English, and That's it. That's the reason why. And that's a great thing. That, I've talked about speech and debate vaguely here and there. Bottom line is I just got overwhelmed. That's why I left. It has nothing to do with the kids themselves. It's just the grueling nature of speech and debate. I mean, waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays and spending all day, like not getting back into bed until 2 a.m., that's going to take its toll on you. And that's the part of speech and debate that I was getting fed up with. And I said, 6 years, that's enough for me. See you later. And sometimes you got to do that. When to say no, though, that's tricky. All right? Most of the time, you get your tenure around year 3. Now, from year 1 to 3, saying no, you're walking on dangerous water there, right? So, walking on dangerous water or swimming through dangerous water? I'll let you be the judge of that one. Moment of silence for Philip Rivers. All right. So, guys, we're 21 minutes in, and I'm feeling it today. Oh, by the way, I wanted to make sure everyone knew this. Usually I will record the podcast on Wednesdays and then post it on Thursdays. I'm recording it right now on Thursday, and I'm going to post it tomorrow. So this is how it works. Here at Sanger High School, we have block days on Wednesdays and Thursdays. And it goes, one day will be first, third, and fifth period, and then another day will be second, fourth, and sixth period. They alternate. So depending on the day of the month, if it's an even day, it's going to be an even schedule. So right now, today is the 13th. So it's first, third, and fifth period. And my fifth period is prep. After, usually I record on Wednesdays. If the Wednesday was a 2-4-6 day, I am teaching all day. I am freaking tired by the end of the day. And I don't want the podcast to start suffering by me just being exhausted and not having the energy to talk about the things I want to talk about. So some weeks it's going to be delayed until Friday because I want to do it during my fifth period prep, which is what I'm doing exactly right now. I've got more energy to do it, and the podcast just ends up being better. So remember that podcast a few episodes ago when I was just bitching about the heat? By the way, the heat's back. I don't want another episode like that. So that's why. And ironically, that's been the most successful episode for the last 3 or 4 weeks. So I don't know. Maybe you guys just like to watch me get upset about the heater. Anyway. Got my proof copy of Orca's Eye Skylines, my new story. Got the second proof copy yesterday. Still need to change a few things with the last proof copy. I needed to change some things with the cover, and I changed those things. It looks great, and this weekend should be good to go. I'm going to read through it one more time from front to back and make sure everything is as good as it can possibly be. Last time with Orca's Eye, my first novel, I kind of was like, it's okay, it's good. I would look at complete sections that I just did not feel like reading again and just assume everything was okay. And then a month later after publishing, I would read through that section should have looked at that a little more carefully. So I don't want to run into those problems again this time. Making sure everything is as good as it can be. Should be live, able to purchase on Amazon this weekend. So pretty cool. I'm excited. I wrote an author's note for this one just because I felt like I really wanted to get my story out there, the story of writing the story. I felt it was just therapeutic for me to get it all out into something, and that's why I wrote the author's note. So it details my journey from deciding to write a book back in 2007 all the way to today. What happened, what transpired, what did I learn through all of that stuff. And it was cool to think back about my college years as an undergraduate. Guys, from high school into college even, I just didn't care, to be honest. Like not until halfway through college did I finally realize, like, I like learning, It reminds me of a Pete Holmes bit where he's talking about how school should be for adults and not for kids, because 8th graders reading The Great Gatsby, it's like, who cares at that age, because kids are like, I couldn't find my hat this morning, but then I found it was under my bed, or it's a really funny bit. It's like, if that's what 8th graders are caring about, where they lost their hat, they're obviously not going to care about The Great Gatsby. But anyway, I felt like that. I felt like finally at 19 or 20 years old is when I was like, you know what? Learning's fun. So I took a lot of college for granted. And thinking back to when I first decided to write my book, it was kind of a trip to think back, how much you change from a 20-year-old to a 30-year-old. I would think that the most amount of changing happens during that decade, 20 to 30, just my assumption. I'm not anywhere close to 40 yet, but I imagine that I'm still going to be pretty much the same guy today when I turn 40. But we'll see when we get there. Come episode 485 of Positive Reinforcement. And you know what I say. Once you're 38 years old, you're not young anymore. That's the cutoff. Once you hit 38, kiss it all goodbye. You're an old man. You have to start doing things like waking up and, you just stretch your neck for like 20 minutes, stretch your legs, like that's just something that you got to do as a 40-year-old. Anyway, that's another reason why Rivers left. He's 38 years old. And, but the thing, like, he had a crappy year for sure. He threw a lot of interceptions. He was just off his game. But he's done that before. He had an off year in like 2011, and then he came back 3 years in a row, super strong, looking good. And, Tom Brady, the guy's 42 or something like that, and he's still got a lot in him, Age is just a number. Unless you're 38, then you're old. We got to follow the rules on this podcast. You know what I'm saying? I think that's it. Do I have any other notes here? Nope. I think I'm done. This was a good one, guys. Episode 20. I promised, or I didn't promise, but I said I might do something special in episode 20. Didn't happen, obviously, because here we are. But I still really want to do the day in the life of a teacher thing, where it's not this podcast, but a showcasing of what it's like, like the camera is my eyes, like what I see kind of thing. I'll figure it out. I think that's it. Billy Shakes, you got anything else you want to say? Nope. All right. Rest in peace, Phillip Rivers. He's not dead. Rest in peace. His existence with the Chargers is no longer around, is what I'm referring to. But, got to be excited because the next chapter is starting. As hard as it's going to be to see someone else go under center in Chargers huddle, you got to appreciate the fact that he was there for so long. A player staying with a team for 16 years is pretty unheard of these days. So at least we got the memories. You know what I'm saying? Memories pressed between the pages of my mind. Memories, sweet memories. Floating there on purple haze and something, holidays and special ways with you. All right. Good night, everybody. Have a great weekend. And remember, hide the chili stain if you need to. All right. Have a good one. See you later.